We're here with Brenda from 3 to B. We'll be right back. Okay, so Brenda, I want to talk about Dana and 3 to B. I know you admire her a lot. And who is she?
So that's a difficult question because I have to put all that into one little ball. So Dana is a mom of triplets who have cerebral palsy. And she, where I met her is her kids are around the same age as my son is. And we connected almost 5 years ago now through a therapy program and hit it off instantaneously. And for me, I had finally found someone I think who understood what I was going through. And through that, I was able to create this friendship that has turned into so much more than it is. And Dana is also the founder of an organization called 3 to B, which is an organization that raises money for kids' neurological disorders for education, research, and therapy.
So Dana has triplets.
She does, all with cerebral palsy.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And at what point were they diagnosed?
So they were all diagnosed, I believe, before the time that they were 2. They were born at 25 weeks, and I don't know how many days gestation, but they were born at 25 weeks. And so they were in the hospital for a very long time, and so she got the final diagnosis, I believe, just before they were 2.
And incredibly inspiring, right?
Very inspiring. I mean, who takes that, that type of situation? I mean, I look at having one child with a disability, and so many of my days can be completely overwhelming. But to take a situation where you have a mom who has 3 children with significant disabilities, and not only be able to handle that and give them an incredible life and be such a supportive mom and make sure that they have everything that they need to succeed, and they're doing extremely well and they're thriving, but then to take that and want to turn that into something that's going to help other children like her kids is inspiring. That's the best word for it.
Let's talk about the amounts that she's fundraised, because this is a mom with triplets.
Yes.
And she heads up 3 to B.
Yes.
How much have they raised?
So over the last 3 years, they've raised well over $2 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and that money has been granted out to stem cell research that's going on at the Hospital for Sick Children. It's been granted out to a few programs at Holland Bloorview, one of them being a Locomat, which is a robotic walking device that will help children with their gait patterns and to help them
I've seen it.
with walking. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And also there's an incredible person at Holland Bloorview named Dr. Tom Chow, who does a lot of work with children as far as giving them an ability to communicate. So for some of these kids, they're just so physically disabled that they're not able to find a way to have a voice. And Dr. Chow has some incredible work going on there at Holland Bloorview. So we've been able to fund some of the research that's going on there in his lab. And then we've also given money over the years to March of Dimes as well for their conductive education program.
So tell me about the gala.
So the gala, for anyone that's been there, they can attest that it's an amazing event. It's not only an amazing event from a fundraising perspective, but it's just an emotional, inspiring event that allows people to come out and really enjoy their evening for a greater cause. And I think everybody leaves there feeling the impact of what it is that 3 to B does.
PAL.
Yes.
What does it stand for?
So PAL is short for Parent Advocate.
It's Facebook, right?
It is. So there's actually 2 components to it. So there is, on the 3 to B website, there is a link for PAL, and it has hundreds and hundreds of resources listed for families, everything under funding and services to recreational programs. And then from there, they can also join into our Facebook group, which is a closed group. We have almost 600 families on there. And
wow, that's really cool. So 600 families. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those families?
Yeah, so the families, what's amazing about the program is that there are families from all walks of life. Their children are at different stages, different diagnoses. Some are from all over Canada. We have some that are coming from the US. We have some that are overseas. All different aspects are represented, all different time spans as far as how long they've been on this journey. And these parents have done some amazing things that I have been, I've benefited from, or I've been inspired by. There's one of our moms that's on there, Barb. She has an organization called Zach's List, and Zach's List is like a Craigslist, but it's for special needs equipment, which is, so.
Now, how many children does Barb have?
So Barb has 5 kids.
Wow.
Yeah. She has triplets.
Yeah.
And one of her triplets, Zach, has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And so that's where Zach's List has come from. And Zach's List is, it was a much needed resource that filled an incredible gap. Special needs equipment can be so expensive, and to allow families to actually try to recoup some of that cost, but then also give other families the benefit of trying to buy some things at a reduced amount. And some parents just give it away for free, and it's also a great way for parents to connect with one another.
Yeah.
So they don't just get equipment from each other, but they actually start to, have a social
And meet
connection.
and share ideas. If they're looking for the same equipment, chances are the kids are
Definitely
similar, right?
Definitely. And it sort of will go beyond that. So they will also talk beyond just equipment. It turns into almost like a segue for them to sort of connect with each other.
Excellent. Are there any other parents?
There
that
are. So
really- there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a
So
lot.
Cheryl, tell me about Cheryl.
Yeah. So Cheryl Peters she's a blogger. She's an advocate. She's a very resourceful mother, very supportive parent. She is involved in a number of family advisory councils and cerebral palsy advisory panels. She blogs. She's done some pretty incredible things. She's worked very closely with Holland Blairview to actually help them get some grants to do some things. And if there's a message that you want to get across and you want social media to be aware of it, Cheryl's definitely someone who can bring that message forward.
And you have all kinds of people, like authors, like Marcy White would be another, and you've had Marcy to speak at events as well.
We have, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. How does that work?
Yeah, so any opportunity that obviously you want parents to be able to hear from each other, the good and the bad.
Right.
But when a parent has a story to tell, I always want to hear about that story. And Marcy's sort of taken that one step further and actually written a book about it. So aside from the fact that it's an incredibly well-written book and the story that she shares with people it's an amazing story of what she's done with her son Jacob. But further to that is, as a community, we want to help support her venture. We want other people to be aware that she has this book, and she's an incredible author, and she's an advocate, and she's an amazing mother. And so we have tried to bring people in to hear her talk, and just sort of spread the word about what she's written. And I think a lot of people can learn from the experiences that she's sharing in her book.
Right. Okay, so the origins of PAL, where does it come from? Where did it begin? Was this your idea, or?
So when Dana and I first met and I heard about 3 I was obviously blown away by what it was they were trying to do. And I remember sharing with her sort of a thought that I always had about wanting to build this community of parents and wanting to make sure that somehow these parents could build a peer network, share resources, share stories, share support, and it was sort of a natural fit. So I was honored enough to be asked to join the organization, and we gave PAL its wings, and it really just evolved organically. And we just hoped that we would be able to maybe connect with a couple of families here and there and share some resources. And now it's turned into this entity that has, again, about 600 families. We have hundreds and hundreds of resources available. We've just recently tested our waters around a funding initiative, and it's grown into something much more than I ever hoped or dreamed that it could turn into. And I think the future for it is...
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Because parents used to meet once a month, right?
If that.
Yeah. They would get together and they would meet and they would discuss their problems once a month.
Yeah.
Over a period of time. And I think what's happened with PAL in the Facebook group is they're meeting all the time.
Yeah.
So rather than meeting once a month, they're meeting 24 hours a day.
Right.
And it's continual learning, conversation, and amazing.
And I think what I love from there is that those are moving, beyond the computer screen.
Right.
So those relationships are actually, they're happening in real life. And people are forming these lifelong bonds, and they're having play groups, and they're going on vacation together, and they're going to the Blue Jays game and the Science Center, and it's turned into this this great social network, apart from just being a resource and a support for families. It's turned into a social piece, and
Absolutely.
I think that is one of the aspects of it that I'm the most excited about.
Bring them together and have fun, right?
Absolutely. You know, it can't all be about the bad. There's lots of good out there, and you know, aside from telling each other sort of the bad days that you're having, and which is great to be able to share that with people who understand, we celebrate all the fantastic things that our kids do on there. And I know for me, it's one of the first places I go to when I want to brag about what my son has done. And I know that everybody on there is going to be so excited for me because they get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I'm glad it's there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great.
Okay.